Tubers, tubettes, and of course crazy people. Well, there's been some alarm bells that have been ringing here for about the last 30 days about proposed changes to the most common visa that's issued for first-time visitors to the Philippines, and that is the tourist visa. So, if you're thinking about coming to the Philippines, or you've already booked your flight to come to the Philippines, or you've just arrived in the Philippines, is this something to be concerned with? Should you keep on packing the bags, or should you start looking for a different destination? We're going to cover that in this video. All right, here comes my goofy little video. Okay, kids, as I said in the little introduction, I'm here with my friend JR, and we're going to address some questions and concerns that have recently come up in the last month or two. And they're justifiable concerns. If I was you and I was sitting on my sofa at home contemplating a move to the Philippines, and for years or months or however long you've been investigating it, you say, oh, it's so easy. I just come in for 3 years. I go down every 6 months after the first few times, and I go for 3 years. I hang out. I set up my life. I set up camp. I bug out of the country every 3 years for maybe a week.
Visa run.
I come back and I start the whole rodeo all over again, and it's only about $500-600 a year, and I have to pay all the fees, and life is good.
Yeah.
Well, recently it appears that they've changed things around a little bit, and change is good in many ways, but sometimes people are very resistant to change, and they don't like it. I'm one of them, okay? So, when things are going my way, why change it? Paul's doing great. Knock it off. So, anyway, they did away with the 6 months. I'm talking about immigration.
Yes.
The 6 month deal. And so that's kind of something that's under review right now.
Exactly.
And so, okay, so that's one little minor inconvenience in my mind, because we have the option now to renew our visa online. The caveat there is feedback that I've gotten, I think JR, my friend, has gotten, that's about 50% effective. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Those are bugs in the system. We're still in a country that is developing as far as technology. But let's just say that you're one of the unfortunate ones that it didn't work. It's going to require a trip down to immigration. And you're going to go there and you're going to pay your money to extend your visa. And now my understanding is that there's been a directive sent down to all of the offices for these guys to actually be a little more compliant with the way the law was written originally.
Exactly.
It got a little easy peasy for a while there. And they want them to step up and do their job and just verify who you are, what you are, and what your intentions are.
Correct.
So, I asked you, what would be a red flag if somebody came in? And I think primarily it's attitude.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
So could you expand on that a little bit? I mean, if I go down and I sit down and I sit there and I watch what's going on, and being a impatient, spoiled American, I want everything to go click, 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 and be efficient. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they're taking too much time, and that form's too long, and that's a stupid question, and this and that, and I'm getting this inner hostility or rage going on. I need to bottle that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And I need to just stuff that down.
Yeah.
And
Nail it down.
realize that the man behind the desk is doing what? His job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You're doing your job. I'm doing my job right now. And we're just trying to make it work so that it's something that will inform and hopefully educate you guys. And maybe, possibly, I'm hoping to dispel some of the fear that I think has been falsely created recently. So, now you've got this guy and he's gone along and he's been a good boy. They're going to ask you, what, 2 questions?
Probably more.
Okay. All right. What would be an example of the questions that they would ask?
What are you doing here?
Assuming that you've been on time, you're not overstayed, you've got nothing. Okay. What are you doing here? All right.
What are your plans? What are your intentions? Why are you here?
Okay. So, why are you here? If I say I'm here because I am taking advantage of the Philippines' lower cost of living, I'm a pensioner, I have my Social Security check, and so my intentions, that's why I'm here, and my intentions are to just live out the rest of my days here.
Yeah, that would be acceptable.
That would work.
Yeah, that would work.
So if you just kept it short, sweet, and honest,
Yeah.
okay? Now, what would be, let's say a year goes by. I understand that after a year, they get a little deeper into it.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, so what would be an example of some of the questions that they would ask, say, after that 1 year mark?
So let's go to your question that you have answered and cleared up a while ago.
Yep.
So if you're here, wanting to live here for the rest of your life, and then one of the common question probably is, why is it that you're still on tourist visa? Do you have plans on applying for an appropriate visa, like the retirement visa to be specific? Or if you happen to be married with a Filipina and you're still on a balikbayan visa, are you planning to apply for the spousal visa?
Okay.
So that's the next step.
That's the next step. And if you tell them, well, you know what, I'm really comfortable just being on the tourist visa, would that be met with a little resistance?
I think so, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
And the motivation behind that, you think, is they just want to see more and more people maybe invest a little bit more in their retirement here in the Philippines?
Yeah, because technically, if, let's just say, if I'm the foreigner coming here to the Philippines and I have been married and then still on balikbayan visa, and you have the intention, like you have the perception right now of, hey, I have one year validity and I'm gonna fly with my wife to any country because we're having a vacation, and that could be an acceptable reason. However, if you have extended more than the balikbayan visa validity, which can be extendable, so why is it that you're not applying for the spousal visa?
Got it.
And when you answer a question that probably it will give them a hint that you're not in good terms already, you might be subject to the next level of verification.
Okay.
That is where the red flag is.
Okay. Now, give me the levels of the SRRV, the one that you're saying that they're requesting that you apply for, would like to see you apply for. Give me the monetary amounts on that.
Monetary amount starts with 20 grand in terms of the visa deposit. 20, 10, and the 1,500.
Okay. Define each category. 20 grand, they would charge me 20 grand because of what?
Okay. You are a regular applicant with no pension and you're applying for the spousal, for the retirement visa.
Okay.
Okay? If you apply with a pension, meaning you're applying alone, for our set of examples right now, you're applying alone, you can present a proof of pension that you're currently receiving at least 800 USD per month.
Okay.
Pension, not income.
Okay.
Okay? It will lower down from 20 grand to 10.
Okay.
Now, if you can provide a proof of pension of at least $1,000 per month and a DD to 14, an honorable discharge or service to the U.S. military, that will all the way go down to your special category, which is the expanded courtesy.
Okay. What happens to that 20 grand, 10 grand, 2,500?
It will stay in the bank up until you keep your retirement visa. If you cancel your retirement visa for whatever purpose may not be, then it will be returned back to you.
Are there any fees or charges involved in that?
Yes.
If I throw 20 grand at them, what would I expect in return if I cancel it out and we're going to move on?
To be honest, expect less.
Expect less.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw any numbers out there.
No. Because they
Smart
say
guy.
they say it's actually
That could change tomorrow.
they say it's actually on a time deposit account.
Okay.
But you know what? The interest is way below than what you're expecting. So
Okay.
that's a common question when a certain foreigner asks me. Don't expect, at least you have your intact visa deposit. What you put in, you can actually guarantee that it will be returned back to you.
Okay. All right. So I think you can read between the lines there. And I always say plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Exactly.
And take it from there. Now I'm going to throw you, hopefully this is not a curveball, but I come in after a year and they're suggesting that I do either the 10 or the 20. And I'm not military. And so I would qualify for the 10. I don't have 10. And I just don't have that much money. I'm on a small pension.
Okay.
I'm not a, I'm just kind of, I'm getting by every month. I've never been late on my visa. I take care of business. I pay my rent. I buy my food. But by the time that's all over and done with, maybe I have $100, $200 left over, and I have not been able to acquire or accumulate $10,000. Would that be something that they would take exception to, or would they? You think? I know you can't speak for them, but in your mind, what would you think would be the outcome?
I came across with that instance because we have actually a client that cannot afford for the visa deposit.
I like it.
What he did is he buy out the 3 years time, and then he resorted up of borrowing money with his friends from the US for him to put that amount in place, and then he pays it off, and we were able to pay it off in the last 5 years, which is actually will connote right now of really I'm also a believer, if you really want it, there are a lot of things that you can do around.
Sure.
For you to do it.
And you know what? I think one of the benefits of this particular video is that since that's the way things are going at this point in time, you guys are forewarned.
Yeah.
Forewarned is forearmed. And so if you're thinking that you're going to come over here, as I've been doing forever and a day, just on my tourist visa, until JR helped me with my 13A once I got married. But set that aside, I think those days are over, or at least we're heading towards those days.
Yes.
So if the Philippines is still your destination and you're not being frightened away by all this, I don't think it's Big Brother coming down in some big deal. I think that it would be prudent for the person watching this, thinking about coming in, to understand that 10 grand would be the number that they would need to save up.
Yeah.
They may have to work another year. They may have to just cut back on something.
Yes.
You know, let go of that Playboy subscription. No, never mind. I understand the importance of things, so forget that one. Cut the cable. I don't know. But I think that's good information. And there's a lot of, hand-wringing going on about getting deported and all that kind of stuff. But that's far and few between, I think. And the only way that somebody can really get into trouble is when they do the fingerprints and they do the NDI check.
All right.
And something comes up from a valid entity, like Interpol or the FBI or whatever. And they do check those places.
Yeah, they do.
So if you're a hit, if that comes up, they're your forearmed again. I actually talked to I talked to a gentleman about 2 years ago, and he had this really cool story. And I said, would you like to be on my channel? I'd like to interview you. He goes, I would, but I'm wanted by the FBI. And the guy, he goes, so I don't think I should put myself out there so I can figure out where I am. All right. Well, you know what? That's really the gist of what I wanted to do on the video here. I wanted to let you guys know that, yes, there are changes coming around. Yes, the Bureau of Immigration is taking this a little more seriously. I think that it's actually a benefit at the end of the day for all of us, because there's been examples that I've seen left and right of expats behaving badly. I've actually dedicated an entire video to it. Guys that lose their cool, they're disrespectful, and I'm not talking just immigration. I'm just talking about everywhere they go every day. If somebody comes and brings them a plate of food and it's not right, they lose their mind. And they're yelling at the girl at the 7-Eleven, or they're chastising the guy parking his motorbike. I mean, it's just kind of personality and temperament that personally, if it was up to me, they would never show up here. And hopefully this will be something that maybe make those guys take pause and think a little bit. And now maybe I shouldn't go to the Philippines. I got two hair trigger tipper here. What else would you advise to guys that are thinking about coming over here and they want to retire. They have no plans of getting married. So your idea, I guess, is that you could probably pull it off for a year.
Yeah.
But then after that, let's go ahead and be prepared.
Yes.
And let's have that money in the bank.
Yeah.
And apply for that visa.
Yeah.
And compare it to other countries. You know, when you're making your decision, that would be just one more, you know, check to put in the plus or the minus box when you're making your list as to what country you want to retire to.
Yeah. I would normally advise them to check the waters or test the waters.
Absolutely.
Test the waters for 6 to 12 months and then have a home base in the Philippines because there's a lot of islands in the Philippines. Visayas might be your center of your home base. I'm not being biased, but you can also make Luzon as your home base. As long as that's your starting point, then move around in the next 6 to 12 months. And then once you're up and ready, then prepare for the next step.
You know what, that is some of the most brilliant advice. And we have tried to say that from time to time on my channel and my friends on their other channels, is that the ultimate thing to do when coming over to here or anywhere for that matter,
Exactly.
could be, if it's your first time anywhere, is put your toe in the water.
Yes.
Don't come over for 2 weeks. 'Cause you're going to be in vacation mode. You're going to be in party mode.
Yeah.
Come over for a full 6 months and really immerse yourself in the culture. Don't just stay at a hotel. Rent an apartment. Rent a house for 3 or 4 months. Get involved in the community. Drive the traffic. You hear about all this stuff being so bad or so great. Well, it's up to you to decide.
Correct.
Is it really great, big, beautiful beaches where it's all paradise? Or is it just smoggy and filled with traffic and funky service?
Yeah.
Well, it's all of those.
Yeah. All of those are available.
yeah, take your pick. And so I want to do a quick shout out here to JR. He is the owner and CEO of JRC Visa Consultancy. Here in Dumaguete, he is located directly next door to immigration.
Yeah.
And I want to just share one quick story that when JRC first opened up, I was his biggest fan. I had just told you a story that we had over lunch about I had to go to Cebu to get an exit clearance, okay, because there was no other alternative ways to do it. And I went to Cebu, we got caught in a storm, we got hoteled in for 3 or 4 days, blah, 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 blah. Cost me about $400 or $500 just to stay, or $300 or $400 to stay in Cebu, where he opened up and started doing the exit clearance, and it was pennies on the dollar, and I didn't have to sit on a bus for 6 hours one way and 6 hours back, and just give you enough notice and you took care of it.
Yes.
And so when I got married, my friend JR here, he handled everything as far as me getting my 13A, which is a resident visa,
Yeah.
right?
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we just passed our final interview, and JR had a representative right there. If we had any issues, questions, problems, whatever, made sure the forms were right, did all the preliminary stuff. You had my passport, you had all that stuff. It was all in a great package, and it was just such a relief to have him have my back. So I'm going to put a little link to your contact information. Whatever you tell me you want me to put in, I will, whether it be email or website or all the above. And I can't thank you enough for joining me, because I really have been wanting to clear this up. I have been inundated with guys asking me about this situation, and I'm not the authority, you know. You're not the authority because you're not immigration.
Yes.
But you are close to it, because you work with those guys left and right, and you're really, really familiar with it. And what's beautiful about JR is the humble beginnings that he came from. He had 7 businesses go underwater before this one took up. And we have a story I love, is when he started this service, he found a niche. He said foreigners need somebody to help them. And his first office, he had a little room with a desk and a chair, and he's just kind of sitting there going, well, I hope somebody walks in here today.
Praying for the best.
Yeah, come on, please, somebody open the door. I'm here to help you. And you have done every job imaginable that from walking somebody down to get their fingerprints to driving them here, meeting them at the airport, or meeting them at immigration. You've done all that until you built it up. Now you have 3 offices.
Yes.
You have Manila,
Yeah,
Cebu,
right.
and sleepy little Dumaguete.
Yes.
Yes. And the reason he did is he is actually, you eliminated some offices because he told me over lunch today, I said, why did you eliminate the offices? And his genuine answer from his heart was, I prefer quality over quantity. I don't feel that in the other offices, clients were getting the best of service. So he wants to oversee it. He wants his staff to mature. He wants them to become very knowledgeable. And then once that is a well-oiled machine that runs itself, then you'll think about maybe expanding again. All right?
Yeah.
So he is a good guy.
Thank you.
He is somebody I'm proud to call my friend. And so I hope this video was informative to you. I hope that with some of the sky is falling stuff that's been going around, we were able to quench some of that. But there are changes. And so like I said, I'm going to repeat myself, being forewarned is being forearmed. So JR, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you also, my
You got
friend.
any final words here for the folks?
When you come to the Philippines, you always have the option to do it by yourself. But if you need one, we're just here at your side, willing and able to guide you.
Yep. And you know what? They will advise you for free if you come in and just ask them questions.
Yeah.
They won't, say you have the option to do it yourself.
Yes.
But this is what we do.
Yeah.
And this is the brain damage we help eliminate.
The brain cells.
Yeah. So go next door and give that a whirl, then come back and see us. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video.